What's goes happening, everybody? It's your boy Fares Muthana, and welcome to another great edition of Good Friends, Better Rivals. We were off for a couple of weeks, but thank you so much for joining us. But big news happened in these last couple weeks. Biggest news of them all. I still hate the Dallas Cowboys because why do they have to lose to us in Week 18? Why? They still stink, and they'll always stink. That franchise is riddled with losers. Bunch of losers.
What makes it even worse that the Raiders won.
And the Raiders won.
That makes literally if we had beaten you, you would have had the number 1 overall pick.
Oh my God, man. What? My name is Fares Muthana. That's my co-host Caleb. Caleb, a lot has happened. Like I just yelled with the bearing of my soul. So technically, let's talk about it. Week 18 for a little bit. Dak Prescott's winning streak against the New York Giants is actually over, technically. Technically. I said technically. I said technically.
You say so.
No, technically it is. Technically.
You say so.
No, because he got the start, because he started.
They took him out.
Yeah, but yeah, I know. That's literally why I'm saying technically. Open your goddamn ears, you idiot. Technically.
Well, technically, you're an idiot.
No, you are an idiot because I'm trying to tell you I'm agreeing with you. Because I'm agreeing with you, but you're like, it still may count because no, it doesn't count. Because he got the start, it no longer counts. His 14 games in a row winning streak doesn't count anymore. Just like the you remember the game he broke his ankle in and Andy Dalton still beat us? He got the win for that because he started the game. And he got the loss for this one even though he didn't play. Barely. So 14 in a row is over. Technically, it's over. But we all know the truth. It's technically still alive because he didn't play in this game barely. And we had Joe Milton. So, people with an actual brain, Dak Prescott's still 14-0 against the New York Giants. He's still 14-0 against the New York Giants. Technically, he's not, but he is. Let's be real. Giants beat them. Your defense sucked. Our offense scored some points. That's basically all she wrote. And you got anything from that game?
No, it was just pretty meaningless.
Yeah.
Even though they the starters went out there and try to do whatever, just didn't seem like they were into it. And then the backups obviously suck, and the defense always sucks. So it doesn't matter if they have all the starters or not. They were just, there was nothing to take from that game. It was just ready to go home.
Yeah. Tyrone Tracy Jr. finally had the first 100-yard game for a New York Giants running back. And I think about 2 years, like an individual running back getting 100 yards. It was a long time. Jackson Dart got two touchdown passes. Both of your touchdowns were running touchdowns and a field goal.
I guess that is one thing that Jaden Blue started in, because we haven't seen him all year, and he was looking good. It was we could have been using that, but they felt like that he didn't have the playbook down, or he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do to get on the field, and that's why he was a healthy scratch the whole season, because they didn't feel like he was ready to start. But if you just give him the ball, you can see that he has speed and he has playmaking ability, and he looked really good. If you give him the ball enough times, so I guess that was one thing that did stand out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Nothing stood out for me. You guys gave up 100 yards to Gunnar Olszewski, so who gives a goddamn? Giants stink, but really, that's not the story. The story that's taken over. Hey, everybody, what's up, Adelia? The story that's taken over the New York Giants, it is John Harbaugh to the New York Giants. Right now, the deal is basically done. People are like, oh, but they haven't officially announced it yet. So what do you mean it's a done deal? They've agreed the stuff. Now the lawyers are in, and they're just figuring out language. Language. John wants language to protect himself. The Giants probably want language to protect themselves. So the lawyers are now just smoothing out the language. It's basically a done deal. If you read the New York Post article. They wined and dined him. It basically read like a 50 Shades of Grey novel, Caleb. It was the way they made it. It was gross. It was bona fide gross. Um, but yeah, that's the big key here. Um, which means one thing: every interview they did was a sham. Every interview they did was a sham. They interviewed a couple of people for their. I believe they interviewed 6 people for their head coaching job. I think
Yeah.
they're all shams. They're all shams, meaningless. They weren't interviews. Um, some people are saying, but some of those interviews are possible coordinator interviews. You know what I mean? But why are you interviewing coordinators when you don't have a head coach yet? Wouldn't your head coach have a say in who you hire as a coordinator or you interview?
Depends on the
Yeah,
franchise.
it depends on the
Depends on
franchise. But someone like John
depends
Harbaugh,
how much power you want to give your coach.
yeah,
I think it really depends on a lot of different factors.
yeah. But I also think like if you're gonna hire John Harbaugh, you know, he's gonna want his input on who he hires. I understand why Philly does it, where Howie Roseman fires coordinators. That was the big thing with him and Doug Peterson. He wanted to fire a coordinator. Doug Peterson didn't want to fire that coordinator, and then he fired Doug Peterson. With Nick Sirianni, they fire coordinators left and right because Howie Roseman fires the coordinators. They fired Brian Johnson. They fired Kevin Patullo. Unfortunately for us. Howie Roseman and him hired Kellen Moore. They took Vic Fangio from Miami. You know what I mean? Howie Roseman
Because he
helps
has
lead
the
them.
proven track record that
Yes.
he knows what the hell he's doing. So
Yeah. So I'm saying with the Giants are hiring John Harbaugh, they're not going to hire his coordinators for him. He's going to be like, I've been in this league for 18 years. I hire my coordinators. So I'm pretty sure that, I wouldn't, I wouldn't think they're interviewing coordinators without his say so.
unless
You know what I mean?
he does a good job of that.
Well, he does. Well, he needs to he does, but he also messes up as well because someone he hired is actually interviewing for a job one of our teams wants. So we'll see about that. Zach Orr. We'll talk about the Dallas Cowboys in a bit. I'm just trying to find the head coaching interviews they did.
And I don't always. I mean, it is. I mean, you're focused on one guy, but I don't always think it's a sham. I mean, I mean, obviously, you want the guy you want, but someone can surprise you. I mean, Sean McVay was a surprise. Even Mike Tomlin was.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was like a young guy at the time. Like some of these young guys can come out of nowhere and get interviews, and even if they did, the guys taking the interviews, they're still they take an interview so their name can get around and say that they interviewed for the head coaching job, and that helps them out. So it's even though you probably chances are you're probably not going to get hired. It still
Mm-hmm.
helps. It still helps them, and it
You
still
put your
helps
name
their
in the cycle.
team.
You put your name in the cycle.
Having relationships with different guys because maybe in the future you want to take a chance on them. I think it helps. I think it's just not for nothing.
Yeah, they interviewed Clint Kubiak. They interviewed Anthony Weaver. They've interviewed Antonio Pierce. But Chris Mara does not care. He has one guy in his mind
Which
and
I
one
think
guy only.
all the teams have one top guy in mind that they want.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. So then get rid of the rule. It's kind of a
Yeah.
mockery. Then get rid of the rule, and because you put minority coaches in a tough spot, right? Because they're gonna have to if they're getting invited to an interview, they have to think, is this a real interview?
Yeah.
Do I actually have a real shot of getting this job? You put them in a bad spot.
But
And if
like I
they
said,
yeah,
I get that. That's the thing. I would say that's the rule that helps. At least they get the interview
yeah,
and their name gets around. So that it does help, whether they get the job or not.
yeah, I guess. So yeah, John Harbaugh. That's the story that's been really making its ways around. You're having war on Twitter between Ravens fans and Giants fans. Giants fans are calling Ravens fans ungrateful, and they're about to find out what happens when they fire a head coach that stabilized their franchise in a couple years, because that's what happened with Tom Coughlin. But it's really much that the ownership failed post Tom Coughlin, because people forget when we fired Tom Coughlin, we went 11-5 the very next year. No one was talking about failure. No one was. We were 11-5. We made the playoffs. Then the boat incident happened. I keep calling it the incident. It was just a photo, but it's an incident. We don't talk about it. And then it goes down. It literally goes downhill from there. When Ben McAdoo's first year, we went 11-5.
Tom Coughlin's guys.
Okay, Tom Coughlin's guys. Okay, fine. That's fine. You're right.
The Cowboys won a Super Bowl with Barry Flister.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point.
That's not a great argument.
That's not a great argument. You're right about that. But no, exactly. But that's ownership. How does the Pittsburgh Steelers go from Chuck Noll, right? And then he retires. It was like, oh my God, Pittsburgh, they're going to go downhill. They hire Bill Cowher. And then within 20 years, they're still good. Then Bill Cowher leaves. It was like, oh, how are they going to replace Bill Cowher? How are they going to do that? They hire Mike Tomlin. And then for 20 years, they're good. They win a Super Bowl. They win one Super Bowl with him. They win one Super Bowl with Bill Cowher. They made another Super Bowl with Bill Cowher. They won 4 with Chuck Noll. They've kept the standard. That's ownership, knowing what they're doing. The Giants don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing.
At least this is a step into, saying, yeah, we don't know what we're doing. So maybe a guy that has done something and give him the reins to figure something out.
But that's not what they do. They don't let you do what you do. They meddle. They're involved. They want their say to be heard. They don't just hire people to run the team.
Then why hire him?
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe this is the step. To take a step back and say, yeah, we don't know what we're doing. So please tell us what we're supposed to do.
The reason Giants fans are really happy about this, right, is the standards in Baltimore changed when Lamar Jackson won that first MVP. It became we want to win a Super Bowl. And every year in the playoffs, he got outcoached. Every year he got outcoached. He didn't adjust. Teams beat the Baltimore Ravens easily. Lamar Jackson had an interception here and there. That's true. But he would also be in a lot of games because of Lamar Jackson. Like the Buffalo game. He throws a pick in the first quarter and a fumble, but then you have a chance to tie the game at the end of the game, right? Like we saw last week, Caleb, in the playoff game against the Houston Texans against Pittsburgh Steelers. CJ Stroud had 3 turnovers, Caleb. Had 3 turnovers. And Houston still won. Because they are a pretty damn good team overall. Especially that defense. So CJ Stroud wasn't perfect. You know what I mean? That's my thing with this, like Jackson Dart. There are moments where he looked good. And he was cooking. But then the defense completely just collapses. He made one interception in the Denver game, changed the game. Because the defense stopped doing their job. You know what I mean? So John Harbaugh, when everybody left him after that 2012 Super Bowl, Ray Lewis was gone, Ed Reed was gone, Terrell Suggs was gone, everybody was gone. He misses the playoffs 3 of the next 5 years. The year they finally switched to Lamar Jackson after running Joe Flacco to the ground. They were 4-5, had 3 straight losses. He goes 6-1. Then, against the Chargers in the playoffs, Chargers made an adjustment. Ravens didn't adjust. That's a coaching thing. And the Chargers beat them in the first round in the playoffs, even though they beat the Chargers a couple weeks before that. Right? They talk about the culture he builds. What culture?
Winning?
Yeah, winning games. Absolutely. I agree.
I mean, that's I mean, that's more than what you've been doing because you haven't been
No,
winning.
exactly. But exactly, that's why Giants fans want him, right? Because we're an embarrassment. We're an embarrassment. We're a disgrace, to be quite honest with you, for lack of a better word. We're a disgrace. We're an embarrassment. We're winning 3 games a year. So if he can be like 8, 9 games a year that we may make a playoff, maybe, we're okay with that because we're an embarrassment. We're a disgrace. He's going to probably, maybe win us or add 2 to 3 more wins to us. Maybe. That's what people think. He's going to add 3 more wins to our already 4 wins we win a year or 2 wins a year. So we go from 4 to 8 or 7 or magically 9. You know what I mean? But think about it, Caleb. Let's think about it. We have no wide receivers.
Well, that's on the organization to get the players that
we'll see how the team is constructed going into the season. But right now, as the team is constructed, we have no wide receivers. Our running backs, extremely underwhelming. Our defense, backline stinks. They all stink. They stink. And when they're not stinking, they're hurt. Paulson Debo had 1.5 good games last year, and then he got hurt. Tyler Nubin hasn't figured it out. Javon Holland hasn't played very well. The only DB that's played good is Cordell Flott. But that's it. Linebackers, Bobby Okereke has regressed. You signed him for a specific scheme. You got rid of that defensive coordinator, and now he's not good. He had some goodish moments this year, but not good. The key to the defensive line, I don't think met expectations.
I mean, Brian Burns was top. I'm
talking about as a unit.
Tops and sacks.
As a unit. Brian Burns individually, yes. As a unit, no. Why weren't we top 5 in sacks this year?
Because Abdul Carter was a disappointment for most of the year. He came on strong in the second half.
Because they were playing him out of position. They were playing him as off-ball linebacker.
And then Dexter Lawrence fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what's going on with
Tibbs got hurt. Tibbs got hurt. For like literally the last 8 weeks, he didn't play. They kept saying, he's going to come back. But he didn't. He's been hurt. They didn't put him on IR. They could have freed up a spot, but they didn't do that. That's my problem with this GM, Caleb. He doesn't do the little things right. Putting people on IR, elevating people, signing people off of practice squads. When to do practice squad. He doesn't do the little things. He doesn't know how to do his job. That's why Chris Marr has taken over these negotiations.
You think he would have been more active if you guys had won more games? If you guys weren't so out of it so early, maybe he would have.
But you should always try to be in it.
But you're not. I mean, we all knew 5 weeks in the season you guys were done.
Whoa. Let's calm down here.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, there's only there's a trading deadline. That's halfway through the season. Okay, you're not making any moves there because you're already done.
We were 0-3. Then we beat the Chargers. Then we lost to New Orleans. Then we beat Philly. Yeah, we were 2-5.
I mean, you're not gonna fool yourself and thinking you're gonna make any.
Yeah, no.
If you make this move or you sign this guy or whatever, you're done.
We had a chance in a lot of games.
But that's what I'm saying. Is he going to sit here and make some moves for this season? Like Jerry deluding himself and trying to make trades in the middle of the season when we've already lost too many games?
Yeah. That's the thing. What's this GM? How is this GM going to operate? You know what I mean? Like with John Harbaugh, right? Lamar Jackson ain't walking through that door. I like Jackson Dart. But if you're telling me you want Lamar, you want Jackson, give me Lamar. You know what I mean? Derrick Henry ain't walking through that door. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's got to be.
Yeah, but Derrick Henry's better.
He's
Even
the
at
new
even
Derrick
at
Henry.
33. Even
Yeah,
at
he's the
33, he's
new
better.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah, no, but no, he's not. Derrick Henry's definitely better, even though he's at 33. That's not. Their tight ends are better than ours, and one of their tight ends is Mark Andrews.
What's wrong with Mark Andrews?
He has drop series. Well, yeah, drop-ish. He doesn't, sometimes he doesn't show up. Unfortunately for him, but usually it's a playoff thing. But that's the thing, man. This team is barren. You're gonna need to fix it in the offseason. How much say is John Harbaugh gonna get? That's the thing, because he's not gonna take this job if they're like, oh yeah, our opinion's gonna matter more. He wants power. He wants the power to do what he wants. And
Yeah.
the Maras, they don't do that.
And it's hard to judge him because usually you can judge a guy on their side of the ball, but he has no side of the ball. So
What does he do?
when you talk about the Cowboys, at least Schottenheimer has the offense as a top 5 offense. Like obviously you're supposed to be the whole team. You're the head coach, and you're supposed to be better as a record, and that falls on you. That if we're losing, it's on you.
Yes.
But
His
at least, at
specialty,
the very least, at the bare minimum,
his specialty
we
is
have
good.
we have a top 5 offense.
Yeah. And in this modern era of NFL, where a good coordinator is going to become a head coach in like less than 2 years, you need to make sure if you don't replace him with a good enough coordinator, you need to know how to help that side as a head coach. Why do you think most coaches in the NFL are now offensive coaches? Because offensive coaches get head coaching jobs very quickly. Like, let's name them. Let's name all of them. Shanahan, McVay, Ben Johnson, Mike McDaniel, Matt LaFleur. You know what I mean? Zach Taylor, Liam Cohn, Kevin Stefanski, Brian Callahan in Tennessee before they fired him. It was more like you can name the defensive head coaches. Mike Tomlin, DeMeco Ryans, Mike McDaniel. That's it.
On the Bills.
Oh, Sean McDermott, Jonathan Gannon in Arizona before they fired him this year. You know what I mean? That's 4 people we only named. 4. That's 4 to 5 people. Everyone else is an offensive mind. Everyone was an offensive mind. Mike Vrabel now in New England, but before New England, it was Gerard Mayo.
You have 2 defensive guys in the divisional round.
Yeah.
So it does work. I mean, the DeMeco Ryan says.
Oh, Mike McDonald.
Exactly.
Mike
There's 3. There's 3.
Mike McDonald.
There's 3 defensive guys in the divisional round right there.
But again, Caleb,
because I mean the Seahawks have elite defense, and the Texans have elite defense. And then I mean McDermott's, their defense is not.
They're injured. They're injured. Yeah.
But it helps when you have Josh Allen on the other side. So if you get the quarterback right, and you're a defensive guy, that works. But if you're a defensive guy and you don't have a quarterback, that's where it's just going to fall apart.
Robert Saleh. Defense was popping in New York, but they had Zach Allen and old Aaron Rodgers. It didn't work. And then now look what he's doing with the Niners defense, with a bunch of nobodies, with no pass rush. I know Philly's offense isn't as good as it was last year, but you should have at least scored on that defense. But they couldn't. They had Eric Kendricks, Caleb, who was literally in that building for 4 days, probably a week, and he was starting in the NFC wild card round, and it worked.
And it shows you where they put their money with the offset guys. You can look at the Rams with Sean McVay. They're putting all the great guys are on the offensive side. Mm-hmm. They obviously made great picks on the defense, but they focus and put a lot of the money on the offensive side of the ball with their receivers and the quarterback,
Adams,
and their running back. Same with the 49ers. They obviously they put a lot of money in Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey,
Kittle.
Yeah, and Kittle. So you see where they're putting their money at, as what side of the ball the head coach is at, and that's how they build their team. How are the Giants building their team when
He doesn't have a special team.
Well, that's kind of like, how do you build? What are you building your team to be? What was the identity? What was this team going forward looking like?
Yeah, because the great Giants teams that in the 80s, they were defense built. All the money was on the defense. Well, not all the money because there wasn't a lot of money back then. But all star players, you Taylor, Leonard Marshall, Carl Banks, Pepper Johnson, Gary Reasons, Harry Carson. You know what I mean? And then on the other side, it was Bavaro, Sims, O.J. Anderson.
Because with the Ravens, they already had an identity is to be defensive.
Yes.
So he didn't really need to, this is just,
Under an offensive coach.
yeah, this is just what the Ravens are. So this is what we're going to stick to. So he didn't really have to come up with like, okay, this is how we're going to build, because it was already built in for him.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. He's building a team from scratch.
So what does that look like? We don't know.
We don't know. He gets hired in 2008, but he had 5 Hall of Famers on the defensive side. You can make an argument 5 of them. 4. Haloti Ngata, Ed Reed, Ray
Like,
Lewis.
does he actually
Sizzle.
does actually want how he wants to build a team as defense, or is that just what the Ravens were? Is that just what he's always known? So,
and then here's the thing too: when Mike McDonald left, they were, when he was there, they had a really great defense with Mike. Just he's showing with y'all in Seattle. He picked the wrong position coach to replace him. Yet he had a shot of 3 people: Denard Wilson, Zach Orr, or Anthony Weaver. Weaver was their defensive line coach and associate head coach. Denard Wilson was their passing game coordinator and their DB coach. The unit of the great defense that was actually the best of the 3. And then you had Zach Orr, who was their inside linebacker. Caleb, he'd only been a coach for 3 years. He was a defensive analyst for them, but that don't count. Because analysts, you know what they do? They do paperwork. They get stats and charts and and tendency charts and stuff like that. They don't actually coach. He was a coach.
sometimes it works out.
No, it works out because you ended up, it works out like Robert Saleh was a quality control coach and then an analyst for Houston, yeah, and then he knows how to coach. But he only been a coach for 3 years. Robert Saleh was a coach for like 10 years before that. You know what I mean?
You can say Kellen Moore was only a coach before 1 year before.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Kellen,
Kellen Moore, man, Kellen Moore. People were saying he was going to become a coach when he was at Boise State. You know what I mean? It was pretty crazy for him. But for every Kellen Moore, you get the Zach Orr, because they went from top 5 to 9th and 18th. They actually decreased. They lost 1 or 2 guys like Justin Madubuike. They traded Odafe Owe. So yeah, you lose those 2 pieces. But the defense wasn't as good as it was. You picked the wrong guy. And if he was the right guy, why am I hearing he's not bringing him to New York? Why am I hearing this transition to why is Zach Orr interviewing for the defensive coordinator job in Dallas? And speaking of that, let's talk about the defensive coordinator position in Dallas.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, nice transition, right? You see a lot of transition? They've interviewed him, Zach Orr.
He's hired everybody. It seems like he interviewed everybody.
They've interviewed defensive line coach, the defensive line coach and running game coordinator DeMarcus Covington from the Green Bay Packers. They interviewed Jonathan Gannon.
Don't like that.
They also interviewed Christian Parker, the passing game coordinator for the Eagles. People have been saying that they should the Eagles should transition over to Christian. Jeff Ulbrich, the defensive coordinator who was with Robert Saleh in New York, and then this year he was with Raheem Morris in Atlanta. Atlanta denied the request.
His son got him in trouble.
Yeah, the guy whose son got him in trouble. Yeah. But Atlanta denied the request. So Atlanta may be keeping him. So yeah, they're looking for a bunch. What are the names that you think are up there? Do you want?
Well, I do like the Eagles guy because their defense is
Christian
great.
Parker. Yeah, Christian Parker. Yeah.
But
also
Caleb, he's learned under Vic Fangio. So
yeah, but also too, Caleb, there's a name that's very similar. That's very familiar to you. That he was actually your defensive line coach. Arden Durant from Seattle. Someone said he's probably going to come down, but I think he's a defensive coordinator in Seattle, so that's a lateral move. So they may deny that. So we'll see about that. So yeah, what are the names going out there that you have pointed and be like, hey,
the ones who
already?
haven't gotten a shot yet.
Okay, so
I'm
Christian
sick of
Parker,
I'm
DeMarcus
sick,
Covington.
yeah, I'm sick of the retreads because that's all we've done. That's all we've had. We've had Rod Marinelli, who was a former head coach. Dan Quinn, former head coach. Mike Zimmer, former head coach, and then last year, Eberflus, former head coach, and we get rid of them. I mean, we've gone through like four different ones in a very short time. It's obviously not working. Obviously, they come in with they want to do their system and they don't want to change and they're set in their ways. That's why I want a more younger guy or at least a guy that hasn't had a chance to see what he's got to do it his way and is more versatile into changing or adapting and unlike these other guys who because they've been a head coach they know better and they think that their way works best, and they're not gonna. This is just what they're gonna do because that's all we had last year with Eberflus. He would not change his scheme. He did not try to fit our players that we had here into his scheme, and it was bad. It worked out bad. The same with Zimmer. Didn't work out. Was horrible. Dan Quinn worked out for a little bit until his run defense got exposed. But so I'm tired of it. I'm tired of that. I want more new blood. That he can really get a shot and maybe surprises because that's why I see a lot of these other guys um, um, kind of come out of nowhere with their defenses, and I want to see a guy get a shot and but I don't expect much. From the Cowboys making good decisions with hiring. I think that's a big reason why we've haven't gone anywhere is because we don't hire the right guys and the coaching wise or um, you know any decisions and with the front office that these type of decisions that they make. And I think that's a big reason why we've been held back and going where we want to go.
Yeah, so the guy I brought up in Seattle, Aiden
Sure.
Durde, he was your defensive line coach, but
Yeah.
it'll be a lateral move to if he comes down here. So it's probably gonna get blocked by Seattle. And why would you want a lateral move anyway? To stick with Seattle and that great defense. A name that I don't know why the name hasn't come up. Your former DB coach, who's now the DB coach in Chicago, Al
Mhm.
Harris.
I don't think that it's gonna work out.
You don't think it's gonna work out? Why?
I don't think.
He knows the players. He helped build the secondary. That was pretty good.
I
Why
think
won't it work out?
because I think what he was doing with the secondary while he was here, I don't know if they liked that too much.
You guys got a lot of picks.
I not it's not this has nothing to do with the play. It was how they were being treated.
Like
They
he
were
was too
being too
soft.
soft, too babying in them, letting them get away with Trayvon Diggs' stuff that he was doing. So I don't know if that would be a guy that they would want.
Okay. All right. So scratch that name off the list. Another the person you guys interviewed was Deron Trey Jones, the passing game coordinator and DB coach for the Minnesota Vikings. A lot of passing game coordinators, a lot of DB coaches. So there's that. People have been saying Jonathan Gannon is a bad choice. I saw that from
Yes, he
blogging with
is
the boys.
a bad choice. I do. That
Yeah.
is the one choice I do not want. That's a horrible choice.
Someone that has been a name flown around there. I just don't know why he hasn't gotten a shot as a coordinator. Is let me see what's his title. He is associate head coach and defensive passing game coordinator, Jim Leonard in Denver.
Yeah, that's the big name.
That's a big name. That's a name I heard for the Giants, and I heard for the Giants as well. John Harbaugh. That's the name. John Harbaugh, I've heard if we hire him, because we're probably going to hire him, the names that I've been hearing on offense is Todd Monken. And that's so funny to me because he's not going to bring Zach Orr because he made a mistake. He just won't admit it. And he's now saying Anthony Weaver was probably someone he's going to bring in. And Jim Leonard is probably someone he'll bring in. Arizona, I think Tennessee has blocked the interviewing of Denard Wilson because I think they like Denard. But yeah, so Arizona. So Jim Leonard is a key for both teams. Jim Leonard, people thought he was going to be the head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers in 2022, but they went with Luke Fickell. And then he left and went to Illinois for a year, and then he joined Denver in 2024 as their DB coach and passing game coordinator. Then he became their associate head coach and defensive passing game coordinator. And you know what? Look at the DBs of Denver, man. Patrick Surtain Jr., Jaquan Hamilton, Riley Moss. It's a pretty good unit.
Yeah.
And Jim Leonard, man. If you don't remember Jim Leonard, man, Jim Leonard was a hitter. He was damn good in New York with Darrell Revis and Rex Ryan.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of him. And so there's that. So we'll see. Until I see that press conference, we don't know what's gonna happen, right? Because we don't know what the hell. Because here's the thing too is John Harbaugh again in this day and age. What does he do? In this day and age, what does he do? You can't say you can't give him credit for developing Lamar because he's not an offensive coach. He's never been an offensive coach. Greg Roman and Todd Monken helped Lamar develop. And then Lamar also hired a private QB coach as well that helped him as well. People don't know that. They think Lamar just shows up to Baltimore and gets coached. He doesn't work like in the offseason. They think he just doesn't do that. But you don't win 2 MVPs by being lazy. You know what I mean? You don't do that. That's not how that works. Defensively, when Mike McDonald left, team kind of dipped a little. So yeah. So we'll see. I have been hanging out with Ravens fans for the past 4 years. I know all about John Harbaugh's deficiencies. I've watched Ravens games with them. You know what I mean? He gets outcoached in the playoffs by better coaches routinely. You know what I mean? The Chiefs did that to him all the time. The Bills have done that to him. Because what does he do during the game?
Oh, he's supposed to be coaching.
He's supposed to be. Where are the adjustments? You know what I mean? People have been Giants fans have been sharing lowlights of Lamar Jackson throwing interceptions and here and that because apparently Lamar Jackson is the only quarterback that has to be perfect in every game for his team to win. Other QBs can play like shit. And their team still wins. Patrick Mahomes
Depends
played like
shit. I mean, there's some quarterbacks that play perfect.
Patrick Mahomes has played like shit in 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, right? But like Joe Burrow would have to play perfect to win his Super Bowl.
Yes, he would have to. Yeah, he had to. And guess what?
Again, the greatest or the greatest offensive line, so he would have had to play perfect to win. Yeah. He's a guy. There are guys that have to play perfect to win.
Yeah, but apparently, those people get passes. But Lamar Jackson doesn't get a pass. He has to be perfect 110% of the time. CJ Stroud literally had three turnovers. Literally literally on Monday. And the Texans still won. They still won. You know what I mean? Oh, the interception Lamar threw in the first quarter? Hey, you threw that interception. Even though you had a chance to win, you had to tie the game at the end, but your tight end drops the ball. So apparently, Mark Andrews dropping the ball is Lamar Jackson's fault. Apparently, I don't know. Apparently, Lamar Jackson John Harbaugh getting outcoached by Steve Spagnuolo, that's Lamar's fault. You're trying to make a play. At the end of the game, throw it deep. You throw a pick. You're pressed because you want to make a play. You had Lamar Jackson for 7 years, and you didn't even make an appearance in the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow at least made an appearance with that horrible team. That horrible team. People are like, oh, but hey, man, but he won a Super Bowl without Lamar Jackson. Yeah, it's because he had what? 4 Hall of Famers? And 5. Anquan Bolden existed. And then Joe Flacco went on a heater. And you know what, too? They don't win the game against Denver if Raheem Moore doesn't mess up. If he just adjusted and played the ball straight instead of backpedaling. Sorry, Delia. And then that's the thing, but we'll see. Because people were talking, you know what I mean? Like, we'll see. Like, he's not as old as Pete Carroll, because Pete Carroll was 73, he's 63. But people thought Pete Carroll was going to come in and work his, culture magic on the Raiders. Didn't work.
No.
Didn't work. We'll see. We'll see. The Giants fans now are okay because we were an embarrassment. We were a disgrace. 3 wins. A playoff appearance. Because here's the thing, too. Like, look at our history, too. Like, there's just been periods of us sucking. Periods of 10 years of us not winning anything. And then when we do win stuff, we do win a Super Bowl. But this is what we do. We win a Super Bowl. We have a period where we're pretty good and we win a Super Bowl maybe. But then there's other periods of just being bad. We're just bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll see. We will see. If he succeeds and we win a title maybe, even though it's never happened, you know what I mean? If never happened, because no one has ever won a Super Bowl with 2 different teams. No one has. No one has. Nobody. So he'll be doing history. He'll be doing history. You know what I mean? With Tibbs and with Harbaugh in charge, do the Giants still trade Tibbs? No, you don't. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? You don't do that. You don't get rid of good players. You find a way to make it work. We had Osi Umenyiora, Justin Tuck, and Jason Pierre-Paul. And we made it work. Why can't he make it work? Why can't they make it work? We literally have shown you it works in New York. We've told you it works. We've done it. And now you're saying, oh, it doesn't work? Then that means you don't know what to do. Then you're not doing your job right. The Giants have literally showed you it works. We've done it. Exactly. And we shouldn't have. We shouldn't have gotten rid of him. Look what he's doing in Seattle. It helped Dexter Lawrence free him up with one-on-one opportunities. You don't get rid of good players. You don't.
Well, you got rid of our best player.
Well, yeah, that's on you, man. That's on you, my dog. You know what I mean? But yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. And you know what? I've heard John doesn't like strong personalities. He got rid of Marcus Peters, even though they still needed a DB who can get turnovers. Apparently he can't work with strong personalities. He wants a dictatorship type thing. Baltimore had no dogs. Baltimore got beat down. They got punched in the face in these later years. It wasn't the same Baltimore team that we grew up watching, Caleb. Those rough, those ruggeds. They're going to punch you in the mouth. They're going to take you out. You know, Bernard Pollard, come down the middle, I dare you. Haloti Ngata knocking you out. Busting up Ben Roethlisberger, making him bleed. That Baltimore is gone. Is dead. If that's the Baltimore you think he's bringing, he's not. He's not bringing that Baltimore because he didn't create that Baltimore. He was dropped into it. That Baltimore was built by Brian Billick and Ozzie Newsome. John Harbaugh was just there, witnessing it. And then when all those guys left, he didn't rebuild it. Man, Baltimore, they don't scare me physically. They don't scare nobody physically. We'll see. Caleb, any other news, any final notes on the Dallas Cowboys defensive?
No, we just got to kind of wait and see who we're hiring.
Cam.
I guess that goes along with I guess the head coaches have to be hired first, and then we'll see who's. You kind of just see who's left after that, right?
Because some coordinators may go with the new head coach that you think you're going to hire this coordinator, but his coaching friend gets a head coaching job and he wants him with him. Yeah, so you just got to wait. So we'll find out after when the Super Bowl hits. Yeah, because that's when most of those teams will be ready. Because a lot of the people have been doing Zoom interviews, not a lot of in-person stuff. So we got 2 more weeks. Well, actually 3 more weeks because this week, next week, and then the 2 weeks before the Super Bowl. So 4 weeks, we'll find out. Caleb, yeah, Donovan Ezeraku.
There's news on him. He just got arrested.
Yeah, he got arrested. That's true.
So that's not great.
That's definitely not great.
So his end of the season was pretty poor. But I thought he came on. I had higher hopes for him. Seeing him in training camp, and he looked really good. But then he didn't show up very well early in the season. I expected him to really take over when Michael Parsons left, but he didn't. He took a while. He did develop. I can give him that. He did develop better. He started getting better in his pass rushing. So he looked good towards the end of the season. Just not where I thought he would be in his rookie season.
Yeah, he was top 5 in the nation in sacks his last year at Boston College, but he looked small sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He looked small, and I think he needs to get more strength in his lower body to anchor himself on the outside. Because
would it helped if he actually had a real pass rusher on the other side? Yeah. So he wasn't. I mean, it's not like they had to focus on one guy.
Yeah.
So that would have helped out a lot. We had a Michael Parsons still. Probably would have helped him out a lot. But still, he like you said, he got better towards the end of the season, but I don't know. He needs a good off season, which he didn't start. He's not starting off with a good off season, like getting himself rested.
Yeah, but that's kind of like the mode for Dallas, right? Someone always gets arrested somehow, some way.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why. But also too, it's kind of like getting rid of an all-pro defensive end really doesn't help your defense, does it? No, it doesn't. Yeah, no. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. John Harbaugh, we'll see. I'm not holding my breath. Why
not? He's going to stabilize your team.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. And then when we stabilize the team, he's gonna be on the chopping block 3 years after that because Giants fans are gonna be like, get rid of him because we want the next step. I can already see it. We go from 4 to 8 wins, and then for the next couple of years we're gonna have 8 to 9 wins a year, and the Giants are gonna be like, wait,
that should be good enough.
But the Giants fans are gonna be like, we won a Super Bowl.
I mean, it's a little much.
Well, Caleb, you're talking about a team that's won 12 games with Mike McCarthy, and you guys got rid of him because he didn't make it. He didn't elevate himself to the next level.
Well, it's been 30 damn years. I mean, much longer do we have to wait? You guys you won it like 12 years ago.
15.
It was 2012, wasn't it?
2011, 2012.
13 years ago. Oh, 15,
no, it's 2016. It's 2026.
Yeah,
so it's
14 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, it's almost 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like 14 years ago. So you got another 15 to go.
That's a long time.
We've been waiting longer.
Well, whose fault's that?
The owner.
Exactly. Like, just because it's shorter than you don't mean it's not long. It's pretty long.
Well, I mean, look how every team. Some teams don't ever have a Super Bowl.
Well,
They won the whole time they've ever existed, and they've got one Super Bowl.
Bro, hey man, I saw a tweet that said the oldest team in every major sport in America has at least won their championship except one sport. You know what sport that is?
What?
It's us. Football. Oh. And you know who's the oldest team in the NFL?
The Cardinals.
They have never won it. They have never won a Super Bowl.
They're like 100 years old. They've never won a Super Bowl.
I think they have an NFL championship. I think.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Yeah, but they've never won a Super Bowl.
The Falcons are 60 years old. They never won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. But they're iconic losers. I know that because that Super Bowl will go down in history. Sorry, Matt Ryan. Yeah, you're fine, Matt Ryan. You have a new job. You're fine.
So that's what I'm saying. As long as you're relevant, I mean, shouldn't that be good enough? You already have 4.
I want 7.
I mean, do you need 7? You already seen 2.
I want to see another.
Why?
Because I want to see another victory.
Let other people.
No, I don't care. I enjoy you guys in pain. I don't like that Philly has 2 Super Bowls now. They're halfway there.
Yeah, they are halfway.
And they're one behind Washington. Washington should be really mad because they're one behind them. So there's that. All right. Enough yelling. Let's head on out. Caleb, where can people find you?
You can find me at NFL Caleb 22 on Instagram and Twitter/X. Find me on this channel doing better NFL at 8 o'clock on Wednesday nights. I went 4-1 last week on the wild card round. So, I mean, I am hot in the playoffs. So go ahead and check the most recent episode on the division round picks if you guys like making money. Because, I mean, if you listen to me, you made money.
All right, y'all. My name is Fares Muthana. You can find me at Fares Muthana on X, _Fares_Muthana on Instagram. Find me here on Good Friends, Better Rivals every Friday, 5 o'clock Pacific. Me and Caleb will be talking football and the football off season, so be on the lookout for that, as well as on our sister channel, the post credits, Thursdays, Fridays, 3 o'clock Pacific, Rewatchers Council, and then Thursday at 5 o'clock next week, we have the MCU Rewatchers Council is coming back, so be on the lookout for that. So yeah, man, just hit that like button, baby. We're 15 away from 300. We're at 285. So hit that like, hit that subscribe. Let's get to 300. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you had a wonderful time, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace out.